You're listening to Have You Ever Wondered? It is Tuesday, June 28th, 2020. I'm Chloe, and the title of today's episode is On Being in the Middle of Nowhere and Not Wanting to Come Back. Guys, I've been thinking about this one for a while. Okay, so I am a city girl, born and raised. I grew up in what used to be the 5th and is now the 6th largest city in America. It is known worldwide for certain music, film, food, and historical accomplishments. It is one of my favorite places on planet Earth, and always will be. It has a very specific energy. And being from this place is not like being from anywhere else. But I've always known there was something more out there for me, something else. For quite a while when I was a young child, we used to take family vacations to the Pocono Mountains every year. If you're not familiar, it is this idyllic location, and if you have both the opportunity and the inclination to go, I recommend it. It's woods, it's mountains, it's trees, it's plants, it's sunshine, it's quiet, it's lakes, it's rivers, it is. And it is absolutely nothing like being in a major metropolitan area all the time. I'm assuming that's why they used to take us there. But you don't have to take my word for it on this Serenity. I found this little propaganda-esque report, but the reason why I want you to hear it is because it's actually a pretty accurate representation of what it can feel like to be there.
This summer and enjoy the water and mountains, but you want to avoid the busy weekend crowds. I know the feeling.
You hear that? It's the peaceful sound of nothing. And that's exactly what you'll get with a midweek stay at Mountain Springs Lake Resort.
So when you come up to visit, it feels like it's your own private preserve. We have about 320 acres here. We have a 76-acre lake on the property, which is about a mile long. It's all private.
Yeah, exactly what they described. Birds, lakes, the feeling that even if you were staying on someone else's private property, it actually belonged to you. Those trips, plus going on lots and lots of hikes in the woods that were next to my elementary school with my classmates and my teachers, engendered in me an early love for being in nature that took hold and really ended up becoming a part of my identity. So, fast forward to high school, and we all loaded up and went to Minnesota with some family friends to visit their grandparents, both sets. One set lived on a massive, straight out of a Norman Rockwell painting, American farm. And the others had a picturesque, cozy cabin that was a stone's throw from the shores of Lake Superior. What a trip, right? If I hadn't been in love with nature already, visiting both of those places within the span of a couple of weeks absolutely would have done it. But as it was, it just deepened what was already there. Do you know how many of the stars you can see when there are no city lights in your way? Or how much of the sky you have access to when there are no buildings? The open sky of that farm did something to me. And when we left, it made me feel like I was leaving part of myself behind. Out in the vastness of the middle of nowhere. Have you ever spent any time in the desert? A lot of people have been to the mountains, have been to the woods, but the desert is a less common haunt, if you will. Now, I can't speak for any of the deserts that grace other continents, but in the American Southwest, California in particular, there resides a stretch of desert that has been beckoning to me for about the last 5 years. So, take everything I said about the beauty of nature that I discovered in the Poconos, add to that the expansiveness of that sky from the farm in Minnesota, top them off with a radiating warmth from the sun, the surrounding temperature, the lack of humidity. And then wrap them all in such a profound quiet. A quiet that reaches into you and mutes the noise of anything and everything that dare to try to come out into the desert with you and distract you from its beauty. Then sit down and stay a while. And there you have a slight sense of the feeling that led to the title of today's episode. Being in the middle of nowhere and not wanting to come back. I can close my eyes and be there right now. I can look out my window and instead of my street, I can see the expanse. Feel the wind. No houses, no skyscrapers, no roads, no other cars, no sidewalks, no pipes, no power lines, no throngs of people. We went to Alaska for a bit the summer after I graduated from college, another shockingly beautiful place in this shockingly beautiful country. And I heard a tour guide say while we were there that there's a percentage of people who, after visiting Alaska one time, either made plans to come back as soon as possible or just straight up moved there. Now, Alaska's cool and I'd love to go back one day, but that is what the desert did to me. So, what is it that you're looking for? Where is it that will tamp down the noise of the world and speak to your soul? Can you make plans for yourself to get deep enough into nature that you can actually allow its essence to envelop you? Surprisingly, you don't have to go that far. The beach, a desert, a farm, a ranch, the bush, the woods, the lake, a glacier, an island, a mountain. Do you have time to go there for a day or a week? Longer? Try if you can. But be forewarned. You may not want to come back. Okay, look now. When I first conceived of this podcast, I definitely contemplated for a while making Mary Oliver the posthumous poet in residence and presenting an Oliver poem on every single episode. I kid you not. So the fact that I only refer to her once or twice a week it's quite the departure, okay? Come on now. You knew it was coming, right? She understood what I'm talking about today, and being in the middle of nowhere is one of my favorite things. Talking about being in the middle of nowhere is one of my favorite topics. And so I had to pull one of my favorite poems of hers, which is called How I Go to the Woods. Ordinarily, I go to the woods alone, with not a single friend. For they are all smilers and talkers and therefore unsuitable. I have my way of praying, as you no doubt have yours. Besides, when I am alone, I can become invisible. I can hear the almost unhearable sound of the roses singing. If you have ever gone to the woods with me, I must love you very much. I hope all that let you borrow some calm over the last several minutes. We could certainly use as much of it as we can find. Hope it encouraged you. I know I need the calm, and I love the thought. Of being out in the middle of nowhere and not having to come back. I'll see you tomorrow.